Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and today we're going to be talking about this. This is the Astro Port Collector set for the Sega Dreamcast. Before we do that though, if you guys could do me a favor, please like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've never done that before, as well as check me out on all the social media stuff. In the description, you will find a Twitter link, a Facebook link, Instagram, Discord, Patreon. Check all those out. I appreciate the support, the follows, whatever. It's nice, you know. And then you can check out all sorts of just my inane thoughts, as well as promotional things, like when I'm like, oh, there's a new video, you'll never miss it, or just random joke bits, because I like to tell jokes and make people laugh on there if I can. As well as Instagram, where I post photos of interesting things that I observe. I think you guys would get a kick out of it. And speaking of interesting things, I also have another channel called Flying Eating, where Adam Eats the World, which is a travel channel in which I go to all sorts of exotic places, including, I'm not even here right now. Ooh, at the time I'm making this video, I'm like halfway around the world. So yeah, filmed in advance. Anyway, yes, so appreciate the support on all those places. Thank you. Now, yes, what we're here to do today is to talk about a brand new Sega Dreamcast release. And if you're like, wait, what Dreamcast release? Wait, what? Brand new? Yes! My favorite video game console of all time, the Sega Dreamcast, represented here by the Sakura Wars Japanese exclusive edition, just for the pretties, still gets new games every once in a while. However, it's not Sega that's making these games, nor is it other major AAA publishers and developers and so on and so forth. It is what we call the Dreamcast indie scene. Dreamcast indie scene, I've done whole videos on. It's a very unique situation that allows it to even exist, but it's cool because it does mean we get pretty regular, semi-regular releases for this game console, which is pretty awesome. So the latest one, the last one of 2022, which is now 2023 when you're seeing this, is the Astro Port Collector set. This comes from us, from the good people at Pixel Heart, which, by the way, full disclosure, they sent this to me for free for the purposes of a review. I'll put a link in the description to it, so if you want to pick it up, you can do that. This set was limited to 2,000 copies. At the time I'm making this, they still have them in stock, but not a whole lot left, relatively speaking, so up to you, but the link will be in the description. The set is, like I said, distributed by them. It was and published by Josh Prod. Now, Josh Prod is an anomaly, to be honest with you. It's run by the company's run by a guy named Phil. I've talked to him a bunch of times, and his motive is pretty different than most of the Dreamcast indies. Usually, what happens is that a developer is like, "Hey, I'm excited about this game. I want to make it, and I'll port it to the Dreamcast because that's like my passion console, or whatever." There's a few different reasons why stuff happens. Josh Prod's is fascinating because he doesn't really develop games. What he does is he basically says like, I like that game. I'm going to buy the rights to that game and then pay a team to port it over to the Dreamcast officially. Hey, I'm very appreciative of the fact that this guy is still doing this. So that's pretty much the basic story with what happened with this set. So Astro Port is the developer, hence the Astro Port Collector. Now, this is actually licensed by Astro Port. This is an official thing from them. Not from Sega, of course, but from Astro Port. So the basic story with all of these games is that Phil went ahead, contacted Astro Port, and was like, hey, I like your games. I'm going to pay you money, and I want you to have your team take the source code and port it over to the Dreamcast. And they're like, we like money, and here we go. It exists. So, yeah. But this set is cool because it's cool for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think we've ever actually, from the top of my head, I don't remember us ever having like a Dreamcast box set of independent games before. I don't think that's ever been a thing. But on top of that, this one actually consists of 2 new games that have never existed on the Dreamcast before. So it's got 4 games total. Now, not that it matters, I have copy number 307 out of 2,000. And let's just go ahead and open it up and take a look at the inside here, because it's pretty cool. Get our little cellophane wrap off, and then it just kind of slides out like that, and you get a few different things. First, you get this poster, at least I'm pretty sure it's a little poster, that it's like, well, I don't know if it's necessarily you deem this as a poster, but it's like a reversible, like, mini poster, which has just some instructions and information on each game. So one side has information on Zangeki Warp and Gigantic Army, which are 2 of the games in the set, and the other side has Sega Zeus Next and Wolflame, another 2 games in the set, with just some basic controls and information. The other thing you get is a certificate of authenticity, which looks like it's actually signed by the founder of Pixel Heart, which is pretty cool. And it's just, just says what version you have and that it's all official, blah, blah, blah. So then just a little slide thing there. And inside is the primary meat of it, which kind of reminds me of like one of those DVD cases where if you bought like a TV show or whatever. So inside you get 4 different games, as well as this reversible art on the back side there. So the first 2 we have are Satazius Next and Wolfflame. For the purposes of this video, I don't really have much to say on those 2 games because each one of those 2 games has already existed. I've actually done entire videos on it. There's Wolfflame and there's Satazius Next. So if you're interested in those 2 games, did whole videos on them. So we're not going to focus too much on that. But what makes it unique is that it has these 2 other games, Zangeki Warp and Gigantic Army, which have never existed on the Sega Dreamcast before, until now. So yeah, you get 4 games in there, 2 of which are exclusive to the set. You also have this thing, which is kind of cool. It becomes this little like 3D diorama type of thing that pops out there. I think that's really neat. So that's just like a little bonus for the pretties. So here's the thing. I like to cover every Dreamcast game that gets an official like published release. So what we're going to do is this video, even though we've mostly talked about the set so far, is we're going to focus specifically on Zangeki Warp, and there's actually going to be an entirely separate video on Gigantic Army. Zangeki Warp, so I looked a little bit into the history of this game. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot to actually learn about it, at least from what I initially could assess. So basically, the story with it goes is Astro Port decided to make this game. They released it in 2015 on PC to, not a whole substantial amount of fanfare. It came out, people liked it, and then it just kind of went away. And then in 2021, early 2021, Josh Prada announced they were going to be doing this basically like scattershot of Dreamcast releases. Like, it was an insane announcement. It was like, oh, we're just doing like 10 new games. And to his credit, almost every single one of those has actually come out already at this point. I think there's a couple that we still haven't heard from in a while, but the rest, I'm pretty sure, have all come out. Zangeki Warp as well as Gigantic Army were on that list. And they hadn't talked about it much, and now we know why, because they were essentially saving it for this exclusive set, which is pretty cool. But yeah, and then ultimately it just barely came out at the end of 2022 for the Sega Dreamcast.
All right, so we are rolling here. Got the Josh Prod logo and Pixel Heart logo, Astro Port logo, etc. So a couple of things I did not mention originally was that the discs are, of course, region-free. So don't worry if you live in the U.S. or Canada and you see that it says PAL on it. Don't worry, it's region-free. It doesn't matter. It also is VGA compatible, so all the HDMI things, etc. That'll all work. So it looks pretty good. And of course, it's a pressed disc. This is not like burned on a CDR or anything like that. So like all the indie games, I wouldn't review it if it was a CDR. So let's talk about the game itself. I'm just gonna be honest, this game was hard, man. Like, I played this a lot. Like, this take that you're seeing was my best run, and it took a while to get to this point. So the whole premise of this shmup, it doesn't look hard at first, but the whole idea is, hence Zangeki Warp. There's an extra feature, which right here, boom, you have to warp through stuff. And if you notice, kind of at the beginning, there was an option to kind of upgrade your things. And so what I recommend is upgrading your warps, like regeneration. You will bounce into walls and die a lot. That was kind of my biggest issue playing this, was that, you get 3 lives, which are kind of meaningless because you essentially reset right back to the beginning each time anyway. Although if you do make it to like a checkpoint, you will get some progress. But yeah, you basically, everything's like one-hit kill. It's a hard game. It is a good game, but it is a hard game. And getting used to the warp mechanic is... honestly, it was pretty challenging, but like once you kind of get the hang of it, it is a fun game. I can't stress that enough. It is fun, but it is extremely challenging. So yeah, it took me quite a while to even get like this decent of a run. Yeah, so you basically have to manage, in addition to the shooting stuff around you, the warp speed and the shield. Now there is a shield, so it has some measure of defense, but at least when you're first starting the game, you're going to want to focus on the warping elements. So. And this was when I was happy, because all of a sudden I was in a big room. I'm gonna be quiet here for a second, let you guys enjoy a little bit of the music before I finish up with you. And yeah, that'll actually about do it. So you kind of got a sense of how the boss battles work in this game, and again, you have to use warping. You have to get used to that. So technically I had 3 lives, but I didn't make any progress because obviously I will die here at the end of this clip. Boom, right there. And then when I come back, yeah, you're basically right back where you started. Well, in this case I had a checkpoint because I beat that boss. But yeah, that's you see what I'm saying. It's fun, but it's hard, man. Like, this is a game you're gonna need a lot of practice for. So if you like shoot 'em ups, this is a nice challenging one to really test yourself, test your mettle, as it were. Anyway, huge shout out to Pixel Heart and Josh Pratt. Thank you so much for sending this to me. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.